Evening, we've got Liverpool versus Manchester United for you tonight, plus Burnley, Leicester, and all of yesterday's goals. Two former Spurs players happy to be with us, rather than performing as a singing tree in Jermaine Genius and Danny Murphy. We begin at Anfield, and a lot can happen in 30 years.
Of course, I would have preferred that we are 2-0, 3-0, 4-0 up, and like after 60, 70 minutes, what would have been possible. That would have been good for my nerves or whatever, but we were completely in the game. The boys were completely in the game. I think for 70 minutes, 75 minutes, we were the clear better side. But of course, at the end, still they had a few shots on target, but we scored a second goal, so big relief in that moment, and all good.
The players are giving us everything. I think today, we hung on for a bit at the start of second half especially, but the last 25-30 minutes I thought we were excellent, pushed them back, pressed them, and we're close to an equaliser. Of course, we're disappointed with the way we concede, but very, very many positives.
Bad news before the game regarding Marcus Rashford's injury. What can you tell us about that? What is the news?
He'll be out for a while. He's got a new injury against Wolverhampton, so we will not see him for a little while. No.
Is there any talk of the end game yet, or is it that old mantra of one at a time?
Yeah, one at a time. Next game's the biggest challenge, you know. I've been in football long enough to know how quickly it can change, so just keep enjoying our football, keep working as hard as we possibly can, and next game is next challenge, and that's the way we look at it, right the way through till the end of the season.
I really like the football we play. I like the atmosphere the boys create on the pitch, the crowd creates on the stand, so that all together is pretty good.
It's probably better than pretty good, certainly when you look at their record since March of last year. They've been miles clear for a while. Do you think the atmosphere changed at the end, though, because they started singing the fans, "Now you go believers, we're going to win the league"?
I think if there was any group or a small group of supporters that didn't believe, they certainly do now. Of course, there's some nervousness. 30 years it's been. But it would be, for me, probably the biggest capitulation we've ever seen in Premier League history if they were to throw it away now. I'd probably go as far as... I mean, if they were to lose it now, I'll wear that shirt next time I'm on the
I quite like the shirt. A bit harsh that, wasn't it? Onto the tactical battle, which you think Liverpool won.
Well, yes, they did. United played at Old Trafford and took points off Liverpool, as you know, and played the same system as they did today. 3 at the back, split strikers, wing backs up against Liverpool's full backs. And I thought Liverpool varied their game better today. Played a lot more longer balls, especially after the first 10 minutes when United tried to press high. And Liverpool's front 3 played up against United's back 3 with and without the ball, which was brave. It's typical Liverpool. And we can see from these clips the problems it caused United. Here, Salah, Mane, Firmino in their orthodox positions, Shaw, Maguire and Lindelof, trying to keep that 3 narrow and protect the goal, and this time they got away with it. But every time Liverpool, this is Liverpool on the defensive with the front 3, what they do is they go, they press, they don't worry about what's behind them, and they say to Man United, can you play through us? And United's back 3 at times, they couldn't play out against the Liverpool press. Here, Lindelof kicks the ball out of play. Typical energetic on the front foot from Liverpool. But this is where the problems arose. Making the pitch wide, splitting that 3. The 2 wing backs are too high. And then you've got the likes of Salah, Mane and Firmino. And one of them's always going to open you up. And they made a lot of chances first half. And as Ole did admit, they were hanging on at times. It was brilliant from Liverpool's back players to recognise that sometimes you don't always have to play out those pretty little passes. They're very good at that, Liverpool. There you see again, 3v3. Very difficult to defend against one of the best front 3s in Europe. De Gea there with a great save, and as I said again, Liverpool should have been well and away ahead by half time. And again here you see the 3 against the 3. What this means is Lindelof can't cover Wan-Bissaka. Big space for Robertson to run into. Wan-Bissaka switches off for a second, they're out again. Good bit of movement in the middle from Salah, and he misses the chance. But when you play at Anfield and you try and press and you try and leave, a back 3 against Liverpool's front 3, it's inevitable you're going to concede chances, and Liverpool system today worked better for them than it did for United.
But there are two sides, I suppose, to every game, and from the tactical point of view from Manchester United, you actually didn't think it was that bad. It was more how they carried it out further forward.
Yeah, and when I mean how they carried it out, it was more the execution of when they got into those good positions from an attacking point of view. I think I actually liked the way that they performed with regards to the high press. This is in the first 2 minutes of the game. Now, they've set the stall out here. This is how United are saying, this is what we're going to do to you, Liverpool. We're going to be coming for you. And it worked. You know, that was in the first 2 minutes of the game. This time, Brandon Williams goes in, Martial follows in. You can see there's a system here. They're all on the same page. And actually, Liverpool were not comfortable. And Wan-Bissaka wins the ball high up the pitch. It's probably why they reverted to go a bit longer, as you just saw then in Murph's piece. Where I had my issues was, you've got to be positive when you win the ball high up the pitch. Wan-Bissaka has to play that ball into James there or into Pereira, who's making a run through the middle of the pitch. They don't. Liverpool get back into the shape, and you're not breaking that down. You know, it's the best defence in the league. You're not breaking that down. Look how good this is from Williams. Releases himself from that wing-up position. Luke Shaw's tight to Salah. Bang, win the ball back. Now we're in attacking position. Can we make those positive passes and get in behind this Liverpool defence and do to them, you know, what they do to us? The answer to that is no. We're going to dwell on the ball for too long. We're going to pop it around. Guess what? They're back into position. That ball should have been either whipped across the box straight away or put into the box of somebody to attack. Because they won the ball on numerous occasions in great positions. That's not a difficult ball. Under no pressure whatsoever here, he's got to find the run of Martial there, Daniel James. He has to. Daniel James guilty again on this occasion. They've got to be braver. They've got to take more risks with the ball when they get into these positions. Look at Martial pointing. Give me that ball. Can you imagine if that's Trent Alexander-Arnold
That's him, isn't it?
and Salah making that run? They're not even thinking twice. In behind we go. They don't. Guess what? Liverpool back into shape. They're letting them off the hook time and time again, and it was a continuous factor. All that hard work of pressing high up, there's no point in doing it if when you get into these positions you don't punish teams. Whip that ball across the box. Robertson is whipping that ball across the box for them to run onto. They don't do that, we'll get back out and we let them off the hook. And with regards to the high press, this is why it worked. This is why leaving the three at the back here, as you can see, there's a 3v3 that Murph's talking about, but this is why it does work. When you're brave and you take that risk, as Man United did do at times today, when you win it back, if you're positive and you've got quality, that ball's got to go into the channel for Martial to run into. It doesn't. It's a negative pass to his feet and it stops the attack. There were some good things in the way he set his team up, but unfortunately, he hasn't got the quality needed to execute when they're in those real attacking positions.
And that's been the story really of Manchester United's season, and often they've needed the individual brilliance of either Martial or Rashford in particular to get themselves out of a hole, and now they'll be without Rashford for 6 weeks.
It's a devastating blow for Manchester United in England. He's been sensational. He's been their best player. He's been a goal threat. He has that individual brilliance to beat people, score goals from everywhere. Let's just hope he recovers really quickly. I don't worry about his recovery as much as Kane. We were talking earlier about that because he's sharp and fit and he's built differently to Kane, isn't he?
It's been his best season for Manchester United. He's grown in stature. The goal scoring element has come into his game. He's always had that kind of that aura about himself, but he took it to a new level. So, look, hopefully, like you said, you know, Murph, I think we agree. Once he's back, he'll be sharp anyway.
Now, when Mo Salah scored Liverpool's second, we did see a tweet from Adam Hurrey saying Alisson's celebration is the perfect excuse for Match of the Day 2 to use its dotted line and its speed gun. So not that we normally do requests, but we did decide that this would actually work. So Alisson set up Salah, and then on our big high tactical camera, we are able to see Alisson make the run. We think he got up to about 16.5 miles per hour. A shame that the cameraman didn't spot that the real story here isn't Salah celebrating but Alisson's run, so he lost him for a while, but he reached a top speed of 16.5 miles an hour.
It's the knee slide as well.
It's the knee slide. You don't want your goalkeeper doing that, do you?
Oh, it's the assist he created. He deserves to.
It's the joy in it.
Yeah. Unbelievable moment.
Yeah,
it would have been a nightmare if VAR had disallowed it.
Let's go back. All right, all of yesterday's goals on the way, but next to Turf Moor, Burnley on a run of 4 league defeats against third place Leicester. Commentary from Martin Fisher.
Different ways today. We needed some key moments to go away, but I thought it was a very, very good performance, and a performance with a few question marks knocking around us lately. And you know, I even spoke to the players about that. There's kind of a backhanded compliment in that. People are saying, "Oh, what's going on there?" But if you think about it, 3 seasons ago, they would have been just saying, "Well, this is normal life at Burnley." So we take that as a compliment and we move forward. And I thought there was a big sign of moving forward today with that performance.
4 defeats in the last 6. It's a concern. It's a blip. But how bothered are you? And how do you go about putting it correct?
It's just working hard. There's no magic formula. I think over the Christmas period we showed a bit of tiredness towards the end, and that took that intensity out of our performance. The real disappointment is the goal that we concede. Westwood has more of a desire to go and score than we did to track the run, so that's the biggest disappointment.
Well, Nick, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the penalty save. You know all about Jamie's style from his days at England with you, or what?
I don't know about that. I think it's changed a little bit. But obviously nice to come in the right way of one. There's a few that have gone past me, so to get a save today was nice. And I think for us, the 3 points massive.
A Burnley-born lad. Your dad played here many years ago. Was he here today to see you score?
He was, yeah. I'm sure he'd be pleased for that. But as I said, the result's the main thing. He'll be disappointed with that.
There was never any panic from you in your programme notes. You were very philosophical about what's happening here. How important was it just to stay calm?
Well, I'm not philosophical, I'm just daft. I can't even spell that. But I think the bigger picture is that we know what we're about, and we just reminded the group this week about what we're about. And, we asked different questions today. We wanted to mix the game up like I like to, and I like the team to. And I thought there was a good show of that again today. So the importance, the performance was important to me today as a manager, not just the win.
He said he reminded what the group was about during the week. I think you sense he probably reminded them again at half-time, because it was a very different second half to first half.
Well, the first half was a nervous Burnley. It was one that's lacking in confidence. It didn't help that they were playing against a good Leicester side who had some good rhythm and had a lot of chances and looked back to something like. But whatever he said at half-time worked. Second half, there was more endeavour, there was more quality, more positivity, more running, more energy, all the things you expected. That when you go to Burnley, you know what to expect, and they didn't get it. This is a brilliant save early in the second half from Pope. He was magnificent, by the way, and gave them the platform to go on and do this. Better quality balls in the box. 4 men in the box here, second half. That's intent for me. That's saying, look, let's get forward, let's give them a game. This is brilliant on set plays, Burnley. Woods, great movement. Back post, we've seen it before. Here's your man Pope again. Brilliant save. Get a bit of luck, which they deserved. He was exceptional, and when you've got a keeper playing well and giving you, and you get a little bit of rubber to green as well. But this is what I'm talking about, second half. There's Rodriguez playing up front today with Wood. Didn't see that first half, sprinting back, getting tackles in, making it difficult for Leicester. And watch Tielemans here. You could argue he's come off the bench, he's not with the flow of the game, but that's desire. That's what Brendan's talking. And Maddison tries to get in for him. 4 in the box again, outnumbering Leicester, and they got the win. I wouldn't say it was a deserved win, but it was certainly a gutsy performance. But football's not all about playing well and looking good. And they didn't play that well, and they didn't look that good. But they've come up with...
But they worked. And they played to their strengths in the second half. They played to their strengths, and they played with more positivity and energy. Gives you half a chance. The stat was mentioned in that interview with Brendan Rodgers about their recent form. I mean, you could just throw the numbers out there. Sometimes I suppose you can put a bit of context on them as well, which helps. 2 of the 4 defeats in the last 6 have come against Manchester City and Liverpool. So you have to be a little bit more realistic.
You do. I mean, the last game I watched of them against Southampton, they were really poor in that game. They were miles off the Leicester that I'd been watching all year. And actually today, I honestly thought they were back to kind of the Leicester I'm used to seeing. Forward runners, moving the ball better. Maddison was popping up in nice little pockets of space and hurting them. But it was Harvey Barnes in the first half, particularly, that was down this left-hand side with his running off the ball. But look at the amount of runners that Leicester had. And could have probably done better with that opportunity. Didn't stick it away. That was running without the ball. With the ball this time, yes, Barnes scores the goal, but the run from Vardy creates it, leaves him 1v1, and it just seemed to be a pattern in Leicester's play that I felt was missing. That sharpness, that speed of thought. When you have runners off the ball like Leicester have, for players like Maddison, it's an absolute dream. He can hit passes like that all day long. The options are just, they're endless. You've got Vardy left, Barnes right, decides to take on the shot, and rightly so with the quality he's got. But they created enough opportunities in this game to win it. More than enough opportunities in this game to win it. I understand what Brendan Rodgers is saying in terms of the tiredness. I think he means more like the sharpness, that cutting edge to the game. At the end of the day, that running power there with Barnes that gets them the penalty, they stick that away, I think they win the game comfortably. But Jamie Vardy's stuck more than enough penalties away for Leicester. Because
it wasn't their day. And as Jermaine said, it's not that much different in a Leicester performance than what they've been doing in other games this season.
No, there's small details that win and lose your games. You know, I agree with Jermaine. They had enough chances and the penalty would have been a turning point. But of course, when they save that, it gives the fans a lift. Burnley players go, come on, this is our day. You know, we were talking about during the Liverpool United game earlier. As the game drew on, you think, is United going to sneak one? You get a feeling. Yeah. But the Burnley players were lifted by Pope's performance, definitely. And then they got the win. And you know next week now, you'll probably see, I think Burnley will probably be back to what we know, and the confidence will have grown and momentum again.
Do you think it was that important a result for Burnley? Because they had been dropping and everything felt flat, and they mentioned Sean Dyche's programme notes there. You feel if they're gone again and lost again today...
In that first half, I was watching a team with no confidence at all. You know, we were having a conversation of, you know, this is Turf Moor. This is supposed to be a tough place to go and play your football. There was acres of space everywhere. Maddison was getting the ball at times, looking around, you know, with options galore to pass the ball to.
Too easy at times.
Second half, Murph's right. I think something must have been said like, come on, let's get back to what we do. And they got about Leicester. They rode their luck a lot, don't get me wrong, but... I do believe it can be like the catalyst for them to start believing in themselves a bit more again.
Yeah.
They had one penalty, did Leicester. I wonder whether they should have had a second penalty. Ben Mee here, not moving his hand towards the ball, but moving his body, obviously with his arm attached, towards the ball, if you see what I mean.
I mean, this is a penalty in my opinion. He knows exactly what he's doing here, Ben Mee, throws his arm at it. How VAR didn't have another look at that and determine that he's used his arm to block that ball, I don't know personally, but...
I have to agree.
Because he's not doing that, but he is doing that.
Yeah, don't start me off. I mean,
all right, okay.
This VAR and handball stuff, I mean, you forget the letter of the law. You know what he's doing.
Yeah.
We watched it. In the spur of the moment, maybe we had to see it back once or twice, but when we saw it back, it wasn't.
Which VAR has the opportunity to do. So somebody watching that screen needs a level of common sense to go.
Which meant it was opinion.
Yeah.
It's somebody's opinion rather than a machine. But look, Burnley rode the luck. We agree. That should be the starting point for them to move on now. Sometimes you need a bit of luck.
Yeah, you do.
We'll move on then. Too good, too bad still to come. Time now though for the best of yesterday's action. We'll begin our roundup at the Etihad.